Hi friends, welcome back. So today's class is going to be a quick fix for your hips. So usually when I'm teaching a hip-centered class, the focus is on settling in, really creating some space, spending some time in the postures, taking some deep breaths. So we're going to be making this a little bit more of a dynamic practice today. So rather than really settling ourselves into these postures, we're going to be moving through them a little bit more fluidly, and it'll be a little bit more of a focus on hip strengthening than hip opening, but the postures themselves can be considered hip openers. So I know that can be a little bit confusing. So I do recommend today that you have a bolster or a large pillow for when we come into frog towards the end of the class. And I do recommend that you have a block. So today's class is also going to be a little bit different. We're not going to be doing our regular warm-up stretch routine. If I do recommend that you do some light stretching and whatever sort of movement, body warm-ups that you that feel good for you before this class. And if you need some help with that, you can head on over to one of my other videos. It's called Daily Movement Flow, and it's pretty much just the warm-up that I do every single morning. So I've already done that today, and we're going to just knock it right into this hip-focused class. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start in a seated position today, and our oils in the diffuser are rosemary, spearmint, and bergamot. So finding your most comfortable seat. And we're not going to spend too much time here in meditation, but I do want to focus, just no matter how brief your yoga practice is, it is so important, probably 90% important for the whole structure of the class itself, to connect with your breath at the beginning. So as we find our comfortable seat, a nice long spine, relaxed belly, relaxed shoulders, soften, close the eyes, and begin to take notice of your natural rhythm of breath. So we're not trying to force it, we're just observing the breath as it comes and goes. How does it feel within your body? How does it feel within your mind? Is it connected directly to any thoughts that might be moving through your head? And before we start to control the breath here, I want you to relax. Soften anywhere that might be feeling a little tense or that you may be clenching. Go ahead and just relax. We're going to start a nice deep breath in and a nice long breath out. Continuing this way. So maintaining awareness over every moment of these deep breaths. And trying to extend each consecutive round just a count or two longer than the previous round. And making this round your most full breath yet. Exhale through the mouth. And come back to your natural rhythm. Relax into the body. Breathe in. Exhale, lower your chin to the chest, hanging the head, shoulders relaxed. Flutter open your eyes and breathe. Your next inhale, bring your head back through center. And we'll take our hands to the knees. We're just going to start some circles up and around the hips. So as we come forward, we'll inhale, shoulders come back, chest puffing forward. Exhale, pull the navel to the spine, shoulder blades rounding to the back of the room, chin to the chest. And then inhale, pulling forward. So what we're doing as we circle around slowly, we're incorporating some cat-cows. So getting some nice movement, deliberate movement through the spine. As well as bringing a little bit of warmth and heat into the hips. This time as we come forward, we'll reverse the direction. Still exhale, drawing the belly in, rounding back. Inhale forward, shoulders back, chest lifting. Exhale, navel to the spine, seated cat. Dip the head. Inhale, coming forward, lift the heart. Exhale, rounding back. So we stopped our circles. We're just moving through the spine. Inhale, last time, lifting up, shoulders down. And exhale, rounding forward. Inhale, moving back through center. Go ahead, bring the legs right out in front. I'm going to move to the side here and give them a nice little wiggle. Just wiggling them out. And we're going to start by drawing the right foot in. We're going to open this right knee to the side in seated tree pose, but we're going to lift our right ankle and place it right on top of this left knee here. So take a moment and adjust your hips back just a little bit and make sure that both feet stay flexed, especially this right foot, that it will help protect the knee. We're going to start with a fold. So inhale, arms reach up. And if this is too much, go ahead, bring the foot back to the mat on the inside of the leg here. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, extend yourself forward. Really slowly start to fold down. Maybe we bring the hands down first to frame the leg, because as we fold, you're really going to start to feel the stretch in that right hip. Reaching for the foot if it's within your practice. And as we fold here, making sure we're still trying to open this right knee to the side. So it's not about how deep we fold, because if your knee is still popping up, we don't want to be pressing our weight down on the leg. We want to have the leg opening through the strength and support of the hip muscles. So your fold may not be as deep as mine, and that's okay, because we want that focus to be an opening through that right hip. Few deep breaths here. Open the hip a little wider, maybe deepen the fold, 2 more rounds. Start to strengthen up your belly. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Nice long spine here. We're going to be cradling the crook of our left elbow around the outside of the right foot. Right arm comes around that right knee, slowly lifting the leg up into the chest. As you do so, resist the urge to round that spine back. Keep the spine nice and tall. You might have to lift that right foot a little bit. Make sure that foot is flexed. Breathe here. Stay active through that left leg. And you might find that the right knee wants to open to the side. But keep trying to bring it in toward the center. And these are just minute adjustments. So you might feel that you need more space out to the side today. That's okay. Just make sure we're still nice and tall through the spine. Not rounding back. It's a bit intense. And if lifting the leg into the chest is too much, we can just lift the foot right off the knee. Just make sure that foot is flexed, right? Long spine. Breathing in. Exhale. Go ahead, lower the foot down. Place your hand just behind your bum, fingertips facing forward. Roll the shoulders down and back. And maybe fan the fingers out just a little bit. We're going to bend that left knee, planting the left foot on the floor. You probably see where we're going from here. We're going to be lifting up. So take a nice big breath in. Squeeze the bum as we lift the hips toward the ceiling. See how high you can go. Keep opening that right knee to the side. Squeeze that left glute. Keep that low belly tucking in to keep the tailbone long. Keep the chin to the chest. And try not to lock your elbows. We're breathing here. If you're not lifted this high, that's totally fine. You can be hovering over the mat. Just engage through the body. Connect with your breath. We'll take one more inhale. And then exhale. Bend the elbows. Lower the bum back down. Extend that left leg. And we'll release the right foot forward. Now take a moment and just wiggle out any tension. Then come back. This time we're going to draw that left foot in. And as we open the knee to the side, we're going to pick up that left ankle, place it on top of the right knee. Both feet are flexed, remember. We want this knee opening to the side. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, extend, slowly fold down. We'll bring the hands down first because remember, there might not be a lot of space here. If you have tight hips, we're more about trying to keep that knee open. Hands can be resting on the mat, reaching for that right foot if it's within your practice. Returning to the breath. One more inhale and exhale. Tighten up the belly. Inhale, we'll reach the arms up. Exhale, hands coming into the heart. Nice tall spine. We're going to hook that right elbow around the outer left foot, left elbow around that left knee, and start to lift the leg into the chest. Remember to keep that foot flexed, and we're just opening that knee to the side. Remember that hip's going to want to pop open, so we're trying to keep the hips square to the top of the mat. And you're going to find, maybe take a notice now, which side was a little bit easier. For me, surprisingly, because I'm usually tighter in my left hip, I'm able to cradle this left leg a lot more comfortably than I was on the right side. Inhale. Exhale. Go ahead, lower the ankle back on top of the right knee. We're going to take the hands just behind the bum, fan out the fingers, roll the shoulders down and back, and bend that right knee, planting the foot on the mat. Before we lift, make sure we're still opening that left knee to the side and the foot is flexed. Inhale, squeeze the bum, press into the feet and the hands to lift the hips toward the ceiling. And again, we want to keep that knee opening. And if we're still just hovering over the mat, that's totally fine. Just make sure you're squeezing into the glutes. Opening the knee to the side, trying not to lock the elbows. Find some strength in your core. Help the support. Breathing. Really press into the big toe of that right foot. Inhale. And then slowly exhale, releasing back down. Extend that right leg. And then slowly extend the left, nice and slow. Wiggle out, jump around here, moving any tension. We'll take one more fold before moving on. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, extend, and just soften, round right down. Maybe a soft bend to the knees, maybe some movement to the back of the legs. Anything that's going to feel good as we hold here and breathe. Look to the toes, feel the belly power up. Inhale, coming all the way up. And exhale, hands into the heart. Cross your legs, bring your hands forward, and swing the feet back right into a tabletop position. Coming onto our hands and knees here. Sorry, I'm just going to move some stuff out of the way. Before we move on, make sure your block is at the tallest setting right here at the top of the mat. And return to table, hips stacked over the knees, shoulders over the wrists. We're going to be moving through a few variations in hip opening through one leg at a time. So slowly shift your weight to the right knee, evening out the weight between the hands. Tuck those left toes. On an inhale, we're going to open that left leg to the side. Hold here. Taking the breath in. As we exhale, bring the knee underneath the chest, across the body toward that right elbow, tucking it up into the chest, pointing the toes. Inhale, flex the foot, slowly open out to the side. Exhale, point the toes, knee comes under and across to that right elbow. Inhale, opening, foot is flexed. Exhale, under and across. One more time. Opening. Exhale across. This time as we inhale to open, we'll exhale, slowly roll the hip back to come into a donkey kick position. Inhale, point the knee open to the side. The foot stays flexed the whole time. And exhale back to that donkey kick position. Inhale. And exhale. And actually, reverse the breath on this. Inhale, coming back to the donkey kick position. And exhale, open the knee back to the side. And this is a slow movement because we're really rolling into that hip socket here. So inhale back. Exhale to the side. We'll do that one more time. Sorry about the breath. We're squeezing that glute. Exhale to the side. Breathe in here. And then exhale back to table. Inhale through cow. Exhale to cat. Two more times. Back in table. Shift your weight into, or you can go ahead and shake out your hands actually. Hopefully you warmed up your wrists. Shift your weight to that left knee. We'll tuck the right toes, even the weight out between the hands. Inhale, open that right knee to the side. And then exhale, point the toes as the leg comes under the chest and the knee comes to the left elbow, tucking into the chest. Inhale, open, flex the foot. Exhale, across the body. This is a slow movement. We're not trying to do cardio. I'm working with the breath and really trying to make the mind aware of each moment of movement in these muscles. So really using your powers of observation. Last round. To that left elbow. Inhale and open. Take an exhale. Inhale, slowly roll that hip back to that donkey kick position. And exhale, opening back to the side. Inhale, slow roll, foot to the sky. Exhale, knee to the side. Inhale, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, open. Inhale, exhale. Last time. Inhale, exhale. Breathe in. Exhale to table. Shake out those hands. Roll the wrists around. Whatever's going to feel good to release any tension. And then back in table, we'll tuck the toes. Take a breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hips up and back. Release the head between the arms. Pedal out the feet. Shake out the head if that feels good. Maybe move the hips a little bit from side to side. And then finding stillness. On an inhale, right leg rises up behind. Go ahead, bend that knee and open the hip. Keep your arms and torso squared to the mat, so resist the urge to open your chest to the side. We're going to just go ahead and open and close that right leg. So extending the leg and then bending the knee. The hip is still open to the side. Just getting a little stretch into the quad. Keep the belly pressing toward that left thigh. And then inhale, straighten that right leg back. Square the hips off. Breathe in. Exhale, bend that right knee. Shift your weight forward and bring the right foot to the outside of the right hand. This is where you may need your block to the inside of that right foot in the right hand. Or sorry. You might need the block in the left hand. We're going to be shifting our weight to the left hand. So a couple of variations we can take here. A nice simple twist. Inhale, right hand to the sky. Or right hand to the hip. Or bring your right hand to the knee. Roll onto the outer edge of that left foot. Look to the side. Or come back through center. Open onto the outside of the right foot, opening the knee to the side, looking to the side, and then roll to the outer edge of that left foot. This one is very tricky. Make sure you're pressing up through that left hip directly toward the ceiling. And if it feels okay here, you can extend that arm. This is tricky, so we really might need to make sure we have support from underneath if both feet are going to be rolled open to the side. Breathe in wherever you're at. Using an exhale, we'll come back to this runner's lunge position. You can keep that right foot to the edge of the mat so both hands are to the inside of that right foot. Look forward, come high on those left toes. Breathe in. Exhale, step that left foot to the outside of the left hand, setting up for a squat. So shift the weight into the heels, deepen the bum back, fingertips on the mat in front. Bend the elbows, straighten the arms. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, straighten the arms. Bend, straighten, hands to the heart. Squeeze the glutes. Inhale, straightening the legs. Just slightly. Exhale, squatting back down. Inhale, lifting about halfway, right? Exhale, squat it back down. We're squeezing the glutes as we come up. Inhale. Exhale, down, hands down to the inner left foot. Look forward. Inhale, right foot steps back.
So that left foot is still on that long edge of the mat. We're going to shift our weight to the right hand, either on the mat or with the block. And again, maybe we just take a nice easy twist here with wide legs. Inhale, left hand up or to the hip. Maybe we roll onto the baby toe side of that left foot and find the twist. Quad is very strong if we're doing this. Or maybe we bring that left hand to the left knee, roll to the baby toe side of that left foot, just like we do for lizard, and then roll to the baby toe side of the right foot for this more advanced posture. And remember, we need to be pressing that right hip toward the sky to make sure we have a lot of support from underneath. Breathing in. Exhale, slowly make your way back to this wide leg runner's lunge. Look forward, take a breath in. Exhale, right foot steps to the outer right hand back into the squat position. We can take the block under the bum here if we're getting fatigued, because we're going to bring the elbows to the insides of the knees, dip the bum to the mat, squeeze the knees in through the center, push the elbows out. If it feels okay here, maybe come up onto those toes and press the hips forward. Squeeze the bum, find that lift from underneath. Breathing in, heels down, hands down. Go ahead and roll yourself back onto the mat. Bring the feet together, knees wide, and butterfly the legs out a few times. Finding stillness, breathe in. Exhale, start folding forward, leading with the heart. Inhale, back through center. We're going to make our way back to hands and knees. We are almost done here. This is where the bolster or a large pillow, whether it's a couch cushion or something of that sort, maybe even a rolled up mat, yoga mat inside of a bag. I've used that before. We're going to have it right here in the middle. And if you practice frog regularly, you'll see what that is in just a moment. Feel free to not use the bolster, but I'm going to demonstrate with the bolster. So we're going to come onto hands and knees. We're going to be framing the bolster. So you want the bottom of the bolster to be somewhere around your pubic bone area, right just below the navel. So hands and knees. I'm going to keep my right knee back. And I'm slowly going to open my left knee to the side and slide the knee toward my left wrist. As I do that, I'm going to open it to the side a little and extend that right leg back. So my pubic bone, the top of my right leg is resting on the bolster. And I can start to open that right knee to the side, toes pointing out to the side, and shift my weight all the way down. As we bring the torso down, you'll feel more opening into the hip. And again, if you're doing this without the bolster, it's going to be a lot more intense. Keep the elbows tight as you lower down. And as we get ready to come up, we'll tuck the right toes, hands under the shoulders, lift up the chest first. Nice and strong. Slide that left knee back behind the wrist, and we'll bring the right knee forward and then adjust back to table. I'm going to move the bolster back into position here. So right side, opening that right knee to the side. And as that right knee slides forward toward the top of the mat behind the right wrist, left knee is going to slide back, settling the weight on the bolster, turning the right toes out to the side, and pushing the whole leg open so that we're finding that opening, that space in the hip. So doing this one leg at a time, sometimes it's really intense for some people. Sometimes it's not intense at all. I have pretty open hips. I don't want to brag, but my hips are fairly open, so this is not too intense for me. But in a moment, we're going to be doing both legs, and that might be where you feel the most difference. And as we get ready to come up, hands come under the shoulders. We'll tuck the left toes. Squeeze the elbows in toward the ribs as you lift the chest first. Slide that right knee behind the right wrist. And we'll bring that left knee forward. And then adjust into table. Go ahead, shake out your hands. One round of cat-cow. Inhale through cow. Exhale to cat. Come back through table. We're going to start to open the knees fairly wide. So opening both knees out to the long edges of the mat. You can bring your toes in toward the center to start as we get ready to come down into full frog. And again, you can have this bolster underneath. I'll demonstrate with the bolster first. I'm going to come down onto my forearms. And then I'm going to slowly open my legs a little bit wider, opening the knees a little bit more until I'm resting on the bolster. Then I'm going to turn my feet, and this can be a bit on the ankles here, so maybe one ankle at a time, turning the toes out to the sides, and then opening the legs. So that gravity is really pushing down on my hips here. The bolster is lovely. Like I said, I have really open hips, but even with this bolster underneath me, I am feeling a very juicy stretch in those hip flexors, the outer hip muscles here. You can always start with a bolster or pillow underneath and slide it out. The wider you open your legs, the more you're going to feel it. And your pubic bone never has to reach the floor. You can even do this with a block right under your bladder or like the bladder area. So like just above the pubic bone, and below the navel. And in this position here, I'm not just releasing my body. My core is still engaged, supporting me from underneath. And my glutes aren't squeezing, they're not clenching, but they're firmed up enough to support me so that I don't just collapse in between my legs here. We're going to come out of this nice and slow. You can tuck your elbows a little closer underneath. Point your toes toward the center of the mat, and then slowly slide one knee in, followed by the other. And then keeping the knees together, sink right back to child's pose. Bum to the heels, arms extended, forehead down. Breathe and release. Plant the hands on the mat. Inhale, look to the fingers. Breathe out. Next inhale, slide the hands back to the knees, lifting yourself up to stand on the knees. Hands will come to the hips. Widen out the legs just a little bit. Press the hips forward, squeeze the bum. Little baby half camel here. So lifting the heart, squeezing the elbows back. We're not trying to bend too deeply here. What I want you to do is focus on pressing those hip bones forward and opening up the hip flexors in the front of the leg. Inhale as we lift up. You can sit back on the heels and then swing the feet forward. And we're slowly going to make our way down to Shavasana. So if you want to lower all the way back flat on the mat, or you can come to a seated position. We're not going to do a full Shavasana, but we are going to take some time just to connect again with our breath before we go on with the rest of our day. And of course, if you'd like to stay in full Shavasana, I invite you to do so for much, much longer. So wherever you're at, seated or reclined, take a few clearing breaths. Maybe sigh it out a couple of times. Notice where you might be still holding any tension. And just try to release. Slowly begin to deepen the breath, guiding it nice and long. Just as we began this practice.
Find that awareness through each moment of the breath. Big inhale. Exhale through the mouth. I now invite you to release control of the breath completely, to surrender to these final moments of the practice. You can stay here in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. And that concludes this class. I thank you so much for tuning in and all of your continued support. Feel free to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, leave me some comments. I love to hear your feedback, and I look forward to our next session. Namaste.